covering every single topic, and especially about domestic violence, child abuse, everything that can help clients actually understand and prevent as much as we can situations.
I mean, the thing that should be said is, like, the way I was growing up, our parents would have been arrested much more typically than now, right? I mean, so it's like, I think there's this, I think the refugees, they're coming to, like, it's not that unique. I mean, right? So in other words, it's like that, but that acculturation has taken place over a long period of time. So to expect it to take a shorter period of time is odd to me.
And
if
in
so,
these instances, it's not just the criminal law that they're, it's actually immigration law that punished them more. That means they cannot adjust their status, they cannot get their citizenship. And we are really trying, we really want for family to learn how they can maybe communicate better. And because they are under lots of pressure to learn so many things after arrival to the United States, but not even try to go that route because of other.
No, I get that. I get that. It's like, if you look at the ways that we learn, I mean, it's like very narrow. And so it's really odd to think that you can get, if somebody's been brought up from generations in a continental law system, and you bring them into a common law system, how do they understand that?
Right.
Right. So the point is, it's like, I hear it seems very narrow, the acculturation.
And it's expected to be instantaneous. There's no part of the law that says
exceptions for this stuff.
Well, no, so my point is, it looks very narrowly that people are dealing with this. When I grew up, the number of people that I had to deal with to learn the system was way broader. And I don't think, unless you get a very broad kind of approach, you're not going to get a successful acculturation.
Right, and that's why the social integration is done through the English Language Center. The refugees can go free of charge to the English Language Center for up to 5 years, and realistically, even beyond that, right? They can take classes through the Idaho Office of Refugees. The Boise Police Department teaches classes. The Idaho Law Foundation teaches classes. There's a large amount of public support and community support that the resettlement agencies will hook families up with. They will have host families come and help them, and so it's not our new community members are simply just set and said, okay, go out and get a job, go learn English, go. Is it difficult? Absolutely. I have heard refugees speak to me and tell me that the process of resettlement into the United States was the most difficult challenge they faced in their life. Now, these are individuals that have come from war-torn countries and have suffered great trauma, seen family members executed in front of them. And the resettlement process is the greatest challenge they faced in their life, right? It just goes to show how difficult this process is. But at the same time, within our community, we don't get to say, just because you come from another country, you have 3 months of a shelter to where the laws don't apply to you, right? This is the thing about the United States. Our laws apply equally to everybody. And that's how it should be. That's why we're successful in the United States. So is it difficult? Do we try to get out and educate early and frequently and give the same message repeatedly, right? It's why we work so closely with the resettlement agencies, the police department, the resettlement agencies.
So I'll just, in the 60s, there were a lot of nurses from the Philippines that came over. 90% of the acculturation wasn't done by agencies. And It's the community, it's all the people, right?
Yep.
So the point is, unless that is matched, then you're trying to do something historically has not worked.
Correct. No, you're absolutely
But
correct.
that's why
But
we're matching.
that's why we're
funds.
matching it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's not agencies.
Correct. It is the community. And the resettlement agencies do a really good job about
Yeah.
directing the new community members towards those resources in the community.
It still seems that's way more formal.
Yeah, I
That,
think, yeah.
This is not how, it's all the informal systems.
right.
Yeah.
I think for the police department, it's kind of a little bit different because the police department is there to enforce the law, and people automatically just see them without authority. So it's very hard for the police department to actually do this because you guys are just there to enforce. So when you're called, you're there to, okay, you violated the law here. So the people that could actually do this are the agencies and the community. The agencies have other things they're contending with. They have funding, they have all those things going on. So sometimes the refugees themselves can't even trust the agencies for different reasons. Okay. Now, when we talk about domestic violence, there are a whole lot of things that are attached to that. So you have the trauma part of things. So it's way complicated than people just having just common arguments, because even people that are natives of American themselves will have real difficulty sometimes when there's no money. The husband lost his job or they can't find money for daily. There's more argument. The woman is seeing things differently from the way the man is seeing things. The woman is getting emotional. All those things go on. Now think about people now coming to this country that have no clue whatsoever. Then they come in here and they have to adjust. They have to juggle a whole lot of things. They have to do their daily. Now you have to do your daily living. The woman that never worked before now has to find a job. Now they can talk to their children the way they used to talk to their children. They have to get all these things. They have to juggle all these things. So it's a whole lot of things that are all playing in here. So
Correct.
it's really very hard.
I
So
agree.
what I can say to this is, I know the agency is doing what it can, but at the same time, maybe there's a way to make use of technology. Because technology today, can do a whole lot from my perspective. We could have like apps, for example, like this sort of information that we're getting today, for example, and have those things have apps that could, everybody use phone. Even the people that can't speak English, they could still have apps that plays in visual, that they could see certain things that they cannot do in America, that comes in a way that they can understand that. So I'm not saying the police should do that, but maybe there's a way the community and the refugee office can all work together to see how can we make this work in terms of maybe putting an app together that we could have everybody have access to this sort of app that they could easily just get on it, play it on their phone, and they just get to know this is America, this is certain things you don't do that could get the police to come to your house, which of course you wouldn't want that to happen. Or what are the consequences? Because lots of people still don't understand what the ramification is when they do get into this sort of situation.
Correct.
So
And that's something that someone that's a naturally born American citizen oftentimes doesn't realize the full ramifications of what happens when they get involved in a criminal activity, right? That is not something that is refugee specific or immigrant specific. Not at all. That's humanistic, right? So we at the police department, we at the city believe that partnership is the way to do this correctly. Nobody has one perfect stake in it. This is partnership. We'd be very interested. We've had discussions before about creating technology and apps with that, and I'd be very interested to see what that would look like and play out. But again, that can't be the only thing, because then we're assuming that people have the money to pay for a cell phone. They understand the technology behind a cell phone. They can pay the monthly bills for a cell phone, and they can keep track of a cell phone, right? So much of that based upon the trauma, being able to work a screen, being able to learn the use of technology can be very difficult, especially even keeping track of a cell phone. Traumatic brain injury can cause long-term, short-term memory issues. So is one action going to solve all of these problems? Is one solution correct? No. This is a total community-driven. We try to do visual. We try to do activities. We try to do auditory learning. right? These are all adult-based learning methods. So we need to come up with solutions together as a community. One thing, this conversation that we're having right now is not going to stop domestic violence, right? We all understand that? I wish I was that good. Believe me, I wish I was that good. But it's not, right? What I'm hoping is that if we have this conversation, I have it with 40 other people in the next couple of weeks, all of us will take that out and we'll tell someone about it. Hey, look what I learned. Guess what I found out about domestic violence? Guess what I found out are some of the difficulties that our refugee community members have, that our immigrant community members have. How do we go about this? How might even my naturally born American community member have difficulty with this, right? We want to continue to educate. There's no one right way, but we'll do whatever we can to make that happen, right?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
The biggest challenge what I've seen with refugees, the trauma is with most of majority, and 99.9% is severe traumatized. The lack of resources for mental health, because that can avoid a lot of problems for refugees to be coming towards you guys. We can avoid, because the clients cannot be referred on time to mental health. They're medicated only for 8 months. Idaho doesn't have a proper, America doesn't have a proper health care, and imagine about Idaho. We don't have the Medicaid expansion. I don't know what will happen. So most of our client we have seen is, it's the trauma, you cannot control your emotions. It can be domestic violence or any other things. And we kind of begging doctors to send your diagnosis, and it's not happening. By the time we get everything kind of together, then there's nothing for them, no resources. So that's not just the education part, but also to take care of their mental health status, how we can make them stable to make a decision or have conversation. That's the biggest challenge for last 18 years I have seen in refugee community or any other. Even within Americans, the same thing,
Correct.
because they don't have, I don't say just refugees don't have health care, but our community doesn't have.
We're
That's
much
why I
more
think
alike than we are
sometimes
different.
we do know what the problems are, we do know what the solutions
But
are, but we're not ready to, we just keep kind of tiptoeing around what those solutions are. We're not addressing exactly what the solutions are, because when we talk about the refugees, they all fall within the low income. Who are the people that you mostly find with police problem is low income people. And it doesn't matter whether they're Americans or they're refugees or they're whatever it is, they're low income people. So those are the ones that suffer the injustice in a whole lot of ways.
I think that we've prevailed upon Dustin enough. I told him that we were not going to keep him here all night.
He said he could talk for hours.
I really do appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
And I think our tape will be good. We'll put it online. You can see it on the Equal Justice Committee of Idaho website.
Perfect.
And look forward to working with you in the future. And we are going to have a business meeting, kind of a short business meeting to do a little more scoping, and then we'll let you all go. But thanks, Dustin.
Thank you. And if someone has suggestions on ways that we at the police department and the city can help, let me know. We're glad to do that. We realize it's going to take everybody's effort, so we're willing to invest in this. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Well, last meeting we were doing